Hi, I'm Matt Dalton, Head of the Consumer Sector here at Forbes Mazars, and I'm really excited to be joined by Nataliya Lloyd, who is leading a new service around Treasury Management. Nataliya, welcome.
Thank you, Matt. Pleasure to be here.
I'm really interested to understand some of the challenges that we're seeing in the consumer sector in relation to Treasury Management.
The thing is that consumer sector is facing a perfect storm of challenges. Fluctuating demand, rising costs, competition, and ultimately the big one, unpredictable supply chain dynamics. Now, all these pressures can really expose inefficiencies in cash, liquidity, and risk. However, glasses always half full, aren't we? So within these challenges really lie immense opportunities. And those companies who choose to elevate and professionalize their treasury functions, they really on the route to unlock those hidden potentials, freeing up some working capital, optimizing funding solutions and strategies, including even just creating that competitive edge with better financial agility. So Treasury is no longer about keeping the lights on, it really is about helping businesses to thrive.
It's really interesting hearing about some of those challenges. So based on those challenges, what are the key trends that consumer organisations should be really focused on?
It's a really good question. I think the most exciting and the most popular trend is digitalization of treasury operations. So with automated and those advanced technologies like TMS, treasury management systems, it really changes the way we manage and see cash liquidity and risk. So take something as simple yet very critical, cash flow forecasting. Now with data-driven tools, it really enables treasurers to make those cash flow predictions in a bit more accurate way, remove manual errors, but also it gives them an opportunity to make very good decisions based on facts and numbers. So this isn't about efficiency anymore. This really is about enabling those faster, smarter and more informed decision making, but across the board. Another one that I would have loved to mention absolutely here is the shift to ISO 20022 standards and real-time payments. Now they are also transforming the way treasurers view and manage cross-border transactions and liquidity. And those companies that are not preparing for the shift today, they're already falling behind. So simply put, if you don't embrace those advancements today, you really risk becoming irrelevant tomorrow.
Yeah, that's interesting. Talking about growth, so retailers are looking for growth. How does Treasury help to achieve some of that growth or even some stability given all those headwinds we talked about earlier?
The robust Treasury strategy is the backbone behind stability and growth. And those that don't have one, those companies that don't have that robust treasury strategy, really struggling to implement the broader strategies effectively. So let's talk about liquidity optimization, for example. This is to ensure that cash is available precisely when and where it's needed to avoid costly borrowings and ultimately missed opportunities. Another one, risk mitigation strategies such as hedging against currency volatility, against interest rate fluctuations, and that really is to prevent those disruptive financial shocks derailing the operations. The cash efficiency, let's talk about that one. Now, cash efficiency really allows companies to reinvest their savings into expansion, into innovation, even enhancement of client experiences. So really creating that competitive edge.
So one of the top trends we've seen across the consumer sector is supply chain and resilience of your supply chain. How can Treasury Management help to optimise and help around that particular issue?
Well, the Treasury plays really critical role in supply chain challenges, and you're right that this is the key pain point, one of the biggest pain points within consumer sector. And by implementing those supply chain financing solutions, this is when treasurers can really ensure the continuity during the disruptions. They can really strengthen supplier relationships and ultimately just help companies thrive and continue with the normal business as usual. Those who act now will really gain strategic advantage today, and those who don't or delay just will carry on struggling with lost opportunities and lack efficiency.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, because I'm talking to a lot of my clients, and clearly Treasury's got much more sophisticated over the last couple of years, but I'm still getting quite a lot of resistance from CFOs to do anything more about it. What would you tell to a cynical CFO?
Cynical CFO, I like that. Well, I approach this with empathy, but also realism. So change is never easy, and particularly for the leaders who have seen the success with traditional methods. However, I'll pose this question: can you afford for your competitors to adapt faster than you do? Right?
No.
Exactly.
Of course not.
Penalties for stagnation are real, and they are both financial and reputational. So we see often that companies that cling to their legacy systems, they are slower to respond to opportunities. They manage their resources less efficiently, and ultimately they are less attractive to stakeholders and investors. Having said that, I don't push for change's sake. Now, my role is to show the leaders that modernization of Treasury doesn't just solve problems, but it also creates opportunities. And once they see those tangible value, that tangible value, the shift is natural. Ultimately, isn't it better to lead the way than to follow reluctantly?
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's really interesting. There's a lot of opportunity there. If we're going to leave one thing from this conversation, what are the sort of 3 takeaways you'd give to some of our consumer clients that they should think about around treasury management?
Well, I'll put it this way. If you want to not just survive, but thrive in consumer sector, you really need to have that treasury strategy that is as agile and as innovative as the fast-paced markets you're in. Modernizing Treasury is no longer a cost. It's never been a cost, but it is investment into growth, stability and resilience that we just spoke about. And best part, the change doesn't have to be overwhelming. It really is about making those small, deliberate steps towards bigger results. And at Forvis Mazars, we are here to help companies make those steps, really unlock their potential and ensure they're not just keeping up, but really setting the pace.
Fantastic. Well, that's a really interesting conversation, Nataliya. Thank you so much for coming down and talking about and really sharing your insights. I think we're going to see more of this in 2025. I think it's going to be a hot topic for all CFOs within the consumer and retail space. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.